Pisces, it's Romy here. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is your September 2021 soul story. So if you've got sun, rising or moon, you might find this general reading just gives you a little bit of a heads up for the energies in the next few weeks. So we're going to open up into Virgo season with the energy of the Seven of Swords. Now, for you, Virgo and Libra energy in September is emphasizing 7th and 8th house, which means there's going to be a strong focus around all of the partnerships and personal relationships in your life, Pisces. We also have a full moon in your sign coming in on the 20th. Now, with Mercury going retrograde in September, we're going to begin the shadow of that transit from the 7th. You can be sure that there's an invitation here to consider how you want to, or if you want to indeed, reconnect with the heart and soul of some of those connections in your life. Now, the Seven of Swords suggests there's some trust issues that are going to be rising to the surface for you through the course of September. I think self-trust is going to be a big one, and I do feel that you are going to be tested to a certain degree from the universe to really trust in your intuition more greatly than you ever have before, because I think as you really consider these personal relationships in your life, and we're not just talking romantically, we're talking, people who are involved in every aspect and every area of your life, and especially as you are returning to old connections or people are coming back in from the past, and you're really considering where you stand now in relation to the energy of that particular dynamic. It's going to require that you really listen to that inner guidance and trust what's being sort of shown to you or what you're feeling. The energy doesn't lie, as we say, when we're in and around certain people. And if you're really prioritizing the ability to be able to reconnect to the heart of something, then you may be finding yourself in a situation where you have to consider, am I prepared to forgive? Am I prepared to let go? Or do I still feel that there's some sort of energy resistance or, something that I don't feel entirely comfortable around? The Seven of Swords can be a really interesting teacher for us, because we can also review perhaps the certain actions or the way in which people are expressing their energy, and we can make really strong judgments about it, and Virgo energy likes us to be a little bit critical and a little bit harsh in terms of the judgment. What we need to understand is that in that moment we have an opportunity to transmute and to transcend that energy, not then ourselves turn and basically use our own form of using some kind of control or power issue to kind of retaliate or seek some sort of energetic revenge. And so in this instance, the star energy is coming through and it's saying, let's stop the cycle here. And this is not to say that from a boundary perspective you have to let people back in whose behaviour you don't want to tolerate or is no longer conducive to your well-being or your peace of mind. What we are saying is let's be much more discerning and aware so that we can pour healing into this particular pattern and then allow ourselves to move forward from it and release ourselves from it, because the retrograde energies are going to really invite you to have that careful, quiet consideration. Now, September as a month is giving you the opportunity for a bit of a reset, which means that, this star energy is coming in with really restorative, rejuvenating energy. And I think it's also going to help you to feel a little bit more hopeful, perhaps, about some situations that might have felt a little bit more problematic, or even you were unsure as to how you could find the upside or a possible solution. Now, remember, as we focus on what we felt we were maybe sure about, everything's going to be a little bit up for debate come September, and you're perhaps invited not to make any firm commitments or come to any really powerful conclusions. It's a little bit of a wait and see, wait and see what more information comes to light, wait and see what people do, how they respond. And sometimes that can mean that we kind of have to hold our nerve a little bit, but we have this beautiful new moon coming in on the 6th of the month, where the Virgo sun here is also going to be trining with Uranus. We also have Mars trining with Pluto and Venus trining with Jupiter. So there can be some real rapid positive advancement and changes, and again, very instinctive, intuitive, even psychic flashes coming through around that time of the month. So it's going to be a great opportunity if you do want to reach out or set like a new firm foundation of kind of reconnecting or advancing yourself, or even looking for new people to help you in some way, especially if you're looking at it from a career perspective, or how you're wanting to use resources. There's going to be a firm emphasis particularly on how you can use things and make them work better for you through this month as well. Now, your energy of death coming in, of course, linked into Scorpio. Venus moves into the sign of Scorpio on the 10th of the month, and so there's a magnetism here. There's an energy that you're holding space for as you are connecting to people in all walks of life and in all spheres of, you know, your own personal journey right now. And so your words carry weight, Pisces, you know, but there's a lot of change that's required. There's transformation that's happening continuously around you right now. And what we're inviting you to do is also to kind of really seek the balance within yourself. And you will, like we say, be tested to a certain degree to kind of put that trust solely into kind of your own solar plexus. I know what's right for me in this moment. And so you may be coming up against a lot of opposing narratives, you know, people telling you what they think is right for you, what they feel is the right way forward. But at this point in time, I feel like you're almost making your inner circle kind of tighter and more secure by way of the type of energies that you're happy to kind of allow in and to kind of really give airtime. And I think that would be a wise move at this moment in time. You may also find yourself kind of reconnecting with people who've helped you in the past. And again, that could be something really advantageous and actually quite healing for you in many regards as well. So keep an eye out for that. Now, as we make our way more deeply into the month of September and we approach this full moon in Pisces, now your moon is going to be opposing Mars, so it's going to be a little bit temperamental coming in with this energy, and you know, very emotive exchanges taking place here. But for you, there's an opportunity to release and let go of something. Now, with the Three of Cups coming in here, this may be specifically around some aspects of, you know, a close friendship circle or a group of people, and you know, be aware that there might be a little drama coming in around that time. You know, it's almost like the chef in the kitchen, or the artist that's kind of got that wild temperament. It just feels like people are kind of taking the opportunity to take the stage and kind of really act up a little bit diva style in and around that time. So you may be sort of finding some interesting observations are coming to light for you in terms of, you know, seeing the heart and the truth of particular dynamics and energies that you have perhaps, you know, invested a lot of energy in previously, and now the universe is saying, okay, is this really helping you to move forward, to be your best self, to kind of realize some of your own hopes and dreams? Because one of the other big themes that's playing out across this month, Pisces, is energy contradictions and us really getting pulled up short from the universe, where we are not kind of playing ball with ourselves in this way. So what I mean by that is, if we have our really clear intentions, we've got our vision boards, we're really feeling that we're talking about the things that we want to draw towards us, goals we want to attain, you know, the person that we want to become, the type of lifestyle that we want to enjoy, and yet we are in complete opposition and contrast, you know, investing time and energy in situations that are draining, depleting, you know, and really kind of undermining or dismissing our best efforts. And so, you know, where you have been, I suppose, lying to yourself, you know, is also going to be coming back up to really be reviewed during that retrograde time. And that can be really positive, because it's going to help you to make some really important breakthroughs. You may also find that there's some real out of the blue situations that come up. And the other thing I want to say is, don't get too full with your diary this month. You know, you want to allow for some spontaneity to come through, because there may be some things that arise by way of offers, invitations, or things that you just want to spend a little bit more time or even more money on. So, you know, you're going to be invited to kind of have enough white space, or keep enough of you know, an amount by, if you like, so that when these things do arise, because I feel like they will be positive, and you will wish, if you hadn't done so, that you had a little bit more time or space or energy or money to be able to kind of get involved or get on board with something, because it's going to be an opportunity to see a different aspect of yourself in some way that I think can be quite important. Now, Four of Pentacles, of course, is inviting us to be a little bit mindful in terms of the way in which we are using resources. But I also see that it can be a little bit of holding back energy. Perhaps you're holding back from, you know, some of that drama or some of the things that you see playing out around you. Or it may well be that you are experiencing emotionally people holding back from you. Of course, with retrograde, sometimes the messages can get lost, misconstrued, misunderstood. Things can get delayed, and so we have to kind of have a little bit more of a flexible attitude as we move through September. That's going to serve you really well. Now we also have the equinox coming in on the 22nd, just after that full moon. Beautiful time to recalibrate, reset, and just kind of look at where things feel out of balance in our world and put them right. Now Mercury is going to be squaring Pluto then, so it is going to feel quite intense, that energy shift that takes place, and you may well just feel a little bit out of sorts for a few days, kind of either side of that. But rest assured, what it's doing, what it's highlighting for you, what it's helping you to kind of really understand and discern is what it's going to take to feel more stable moving forward. We need a firm, stable foundation, but we also need you to be reconnecting to the heart and the soul of why it matters. You know, it's not just enough to say, this is something I want. Why do you want it? And I think if you kind of focus on the why around that, then, you know, your King of Pentacles coming in here is going to bring a sense of surety to the possibility, you know, a sense of kind of people showing up, being connected to the right energies to bring a little bit more of that sense of a firm foundation with which to build upon. But you need to get clear about it, because if you're not, then there's a sense of you feeling ungrounded, and then those changes happening to you and you feeling like, well, that was never something I asked for. And there's that energy contradiction starting to play itself out because the momentum has started to build up. So when we're working in and around that Libran energy, especially as it activates that 8th house, you know, it's also the way in which you bond and merge with people, especially a focus in and around marriages for some of you as well. So there may be some real discussions on how you can improve things, how you can reconcile, how you can get back on track, or indeed an opportunity to release and find a sense of closure. Three of Swords coming through because there is a sense of clarity that needs to be understood in some aspect of a situation. Now your Three of Swords and Seven of Swords, remember swords connects to our intellect, it's our thought form. So even though yes, this energy can indicate that we have that sense of heartbreak or upset, or there are tears or a release that's required, because we're talking about Mercury retrograde in Libra in an air sign, the third air sign retrograde that we've had in 2021, and it really deals with our mental thoughts, our mental health. I want to say that this Three of Swords for me is something about what is going on in terms of the way that you think about a situation, and there being some truth and clarity that will emerge, especially around that full moon, that I think is going to help you. Now we do have some tough little moments that we need to be aware of. Yes, on the 5th, Venus is going to square Pluto. Stress point where there may be some control issues, there may be somebody trying to assert power, or you yourself may find your mindset is kind of feeling a little bit locked in. We then have Venus squaring Saturn on the 17th, and of course that Mercury squaring Pluto on the 22nd. So these dates are times where you might feel a little bit more under pressure and a release may be required. And you know, it's probably time to look at having the conversation first and foremost with yourself, and then perhaps preparing yourself to kind of revisit or go back over something, because there may be something that you initially agreed to or you just accepted but was never really resolved for you. There was no closure, there was no opportunity to kind of, you know, really have your chance to speak or to kind of express yourself. Now, your King of Swords coming through, air sign, Gemini, Aquarius or Libra perhaps, may even be the person who is a little bit emotionally withdrawn, or you know, perhaps even the cause of that Three of Swords in some aspects as well. And again, if they're not an air sign, just could be somebody expressing that type of an energy towards you through the course of this month, Pisces. What I feel that we have an opportunity to do here though is to kind of transcend and move above and beyond it. Remember, sometimes conflict is really about the opportunity to feel witnessed and seen and understood. You know, it's that sense of frustration that builds up. And that tension that arises. Your King of Swords is kind of sitting and almost challenging you in some way. It's like, okay, speak up, say it, express it. And I feel that if you can be unattached to the outcome, but give yourself the opportunity to return to something that has happened for you or gone on for you, and look at it through the eyes of this new wise self, this new evolved soul that you have become, the way that you have changed and evolved, you may actually find that what you felt was truly still hurting you or upsetting you or an issue for you actually now no longer has that same sense of control or weight or power. And you can trust yourself to actually at that point let it go. I think that's a really powerful message in terms of what they're showing me here, especially with that full moon in your sign. Again, like we said, tested from the universe to trust in your intuition and actually really question, do I still feel the same way, or why am I still saying that story? Why am I still talking about that? I'm not actually sure I do miss that person so much, or I do still feel angry at them anymore. It's just like, is it wasteful energy? You know, can we start to direct it in new ways? You know, I love the King of Swords for bringing in a beautiful sense of focus for you coming through in September as well. And I think that focus should wholeheartedly be on how can I make improvements within the way that I'm thinking right now, so that I can start to open up my world and draw towards me the right people, the right relationships, the right types of energy that are going to be absolutely what it is that I need to be able to continue to thrive. And there are so many messed up stories and different narratives that are out there in the collective at the moment that you have no choice so often at the moment but to just literally call your energy back home and to find that safe emotional space for you, and to really kind of quietly consider, what am I being told? What does my higher self tell me is right for me right now? The greatest love story is always going to be between you and you. You know, the soul journey, the soul contract that you're on right now, it's not really anybody else's business, you know, and you have a lot of catalytic events that are taking place right now, but here we have this sense of devotion and coming back together and uniting with something within yourself, coming back to the real root of like, what do I want? Why do I want it? What is the heart of this? Where is the soul like being nourished from it? And then what actions do I want to take from this point forward to really kind of address this in a much more meaningful way than I ever have before? And I think if you can kind of take that approach through the course of September, you're really going to learn and gain a lot from it. Now, around that full moon, we also have the asteroid goddess Vesta, also known as Hestia. She's moving into the sign of Scorpio, so representing that beautiful bright star in the sky. It's like your kind of guiding light, and it's like that light within. But in the sign of Scorpio, Vesta's also not afraid to kind of go to the deeper, more challenging psychological issues, you know, any shadow aspects of situations and of the self, and from this beautiful soulful space that she's the custodian of, really help you to overcome, to deal with things, you know, from an achingly truthful perspective. That Three of Swords, that's where she's going to be working with you, to really kind of honor and respect what it is that you're feeling, experiencing, not from a bypassing, you know, perspective, but kind of to own it, and then to deal with it, and to be able to perhaps bridge some of these subjects with other people in terms of some of the relationships in your life, and really start to bring things either to a point of peaceful resolution and closure, or to transmute, transform, and actually end up kind of opening things up on a much better footing for yourself. If you want to learn a bit more about the goddess energies, you can check them out on my website. I've just started a new report that gives you a lot more in-depth detail about it based on your personal natal chart. So let's have a look and see what oracle card wants to come through just to join this conversation for us for September, Pisces. We have the inner oracle. You are the channel, deja vu, self-fulfilling prophecy. We've got the scales here, and you know, when we talk about Libra season, we talk about the equinox. Everything is about balancing the energy in our life right now. We have to balance it within ourselves first and foremost. That feeling of deja vu, of course, because we are going to be returning to things from the past with that retrograde, and so many planets now taking that back spin. And so understanding, you know, what presence they've had in our life, what purpose they've had in our life, how we've changed, and perhaps perhaps where we need to revisit things. And you know, yes, there are always the typical things that we need to pay attention for when Mercury, you know, goes to sleep, but it's also about recognizing that there's sometimes a chance to kind of revisit things we thought were broken or lost or we dismissed as having no longer any relevance in our life, and actually we can find that there's a way to fall back in love or fall back into deep appreciation or acceptance that actually this is a really important thing that was missing from your life, and you now get a chance to kind of call it back in. You know, you are the channel because we are really inviting you to trust in yourself above anyone or anything else at the moment, Pisces. That is going to be the thing that makes the difference in terms of how secure you feel, you know, and that emotional foundation that the King of Pentacles wants to bring in for you, you know. And it is a state of mind, it's a state of energy that you have to kind of align with and embody before you start to see these things really showing up for you, okay? So beautiful energy of the inner oracle to work with. Let's take a look at the astrological card coming through for you. Okay, you have yang, so we talk about the balance of yin and yang. So proactivity, expression, doing and forward motion. You know, even though this month I wouldn't say is a hugely action orientated time, I think like a lot of progress will be made, but it will be felt in terms of the internal rather than you necessarily like running out into the world to make things happen. It's like aligning with the energy first and then really watching that dynamic change, especially for you Pisces, in these important relationships and personal relationships in your life. You know, this is about you recognizing that, you know, sometimes the heart lives very firmly in the past and the mind is also, you know, very future focused, where it starts to worry and bring anxiety. And so where we want to really be is in that area of our gut, isn't it? In our kind of solar plexus, because that's a very present state to be in. And it's like if you knew somebody was going to be approaching you and kind of giving you a gentle shove, you could kind of prepare yourself, couldn't you? You would put yourself in that beautiful sort of Superman position. You would hold your solar plexus, and then when they approached you and gave you a shove, you wouldn't really move. But if it happened to you unexpectedly and you weren't prepared, you weren't grounded, then you might fall right over when that happens. And so that's the invitation. It's like how you can prepare your energy from a place of real certainty. You know, and if you struggle to find things that are certain right now in your life or even in yourself, look to nature. Nature will always give you certainty. There will always be oxygen to breathe right now. You know, the flowers will always seek the sunlight to be able to have their growth. You know, the sunrise will always happen every morning. Here are things that you can kind of place your sense of certainty in to start to build up an energy picture of what that feels like for you. Okay, let's take a look at the crystal card for you this month. We have the emerald, beautiful and timely that it connects into Mercury here, cognizance coming through. So emerald, of course, bringing a sense of prosperity, a sense of abundance, but also really profound protection and an important almost talisman, I feel, for you as you move through this month and really get to grips with where there may be some energy contradictions taking place. And, you know, as you start to be a greater witness and observer of it for yourself, you're also really going to pay attention to where it's showing up in other people's expression as well. And then you can be more informed, you know, either that you need to kind of apply better boundaries or you need to kind of withdraw and maybe decide, you know, that you don't want to invest so much energy in that relationship, or you can just be less triggered because you can really identify where it's coming from. So that state of presence and awareness is really, really important. You have this gorgeous like rainbow that's also cutting through the full moon here as well. Again, that invitation around the full moon, even if there are some difficult, conflicting and temperamental sort of emotional exchanges or eruptions from people around you, or even if you yourself feel extra sensitive around that moon, remember just following it, that beautiful trajectory shift from the equinox is going to help you to make a really powerful release that's already been initiated at that full moon. So it's going to be a very powerful time to help you to let go if you have struggled to do so up to this point. And I think that's going to matter a lot where you've struggled to get any closure. This is definitely a month you can find closure for yourself and enable your energy to start to be invested towards the ideas and the inspirations, because believe me, that star is coming through with some really exciting and quite, I want to say, progressive thoughts about what might be possible for you. And you might just have to have some quiet kind of time to really let that land and let yourself receive it. And I suppose that's the question I'm going to really put to you. Are you actually in a receiving energy in September, Pisces? And if not, why not? And what are you going to have to do to adjust that? Because there's a lot that's kind of swirling around, and if we put too much time and focus externally, especially with some of the haze and the confusion that retrograde may start to bring in shadow, and we're going to be playing with that all the way through October as well. So whatever gets highlighted to you through September, that's going to be showing up to be somehow resolved. We need to find some sense of acceptance and resolution, but you have an awful lot of opportunity for that resolution. Now, this is a general reading for the month of September. Pisces, if you want to join me for the extended version, we're going to talk for another 20 minutes or so. We go a little bit deeper into the messages. I'm also going to invite you to think about a question that might not have come up in the main spreads here. We'll pull a couple of cards for you just now, and again we'll cover that off in that conversation. Now, you can find the link for the extended reading in the description box and the comment section underneath, and it's also over my website, romywiser.com. It's a way to support my work and the channel, but also for you to just get a little bit extra. So we're just going to clarify this Seven of Swords with the Two of Wands, and there is a need for planning, re-evaluation happening. There's your King of Swords showing up again, interesting, and your Four of Cups. Okay, the Sun and the Stars. So we just do have some beautiful rejuvenating energy coming through for you. So a little bit of a breakthrough, which I like. Knight of Swords. Two of Pentacles, weighing things up. Death and the World. I mean, you have the Sun, the Star, and the World coming through, and the Magician. You've got some great energies to be working with. They're going to forge you that breakthrough moment. Four of Swords with your Three of Cups. There's your withdrawal energy from the people or the group dynamics that aren't serving you. Look what you can do with that time and energy. Full coming through here. Another Three of Cups, Eight of Swords. Fire energy coming through there with the Queen of Wands. We're looking at Ten of Pentacles with the Three of Swords here. Queen of Wands, perhaps a family situation or dynamic playing out. Definitely like a quiet vibe with that Hermit there, and that Four of Pentacles with the King. Here, beautiful. Tower. Okay, one more. The Chariot, beautiful. Okay, Pisces, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed the reading, please do drop me a like and a comment. And if you're coming over for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation with you there. You take good care. Have a beautiful month. Bye for now.